is Tyreek Hill being released by the Miami Dolphins? Well, if you're an NFL fan, you knew this was coming. This wasn't a surprise. The Dolphins are going into rebuild mode, as they should. But my thoughts about it, where is Tyreek Hill going to land? That's the biggest question, right? Because obviously you saw he's coming off the gruesome knee injury, the injury that he suffered against the Jets earlier this past season that we just had. And now you think to yourself, well, the Dolphins are saving around $22.8 million in cap space. Well, the question remains is where is Tyreek Hill going to land? And that's kind of what I was trying to put together. And I was going by team and the AFC and the NFC and realistically contenders. But Tyreek Hill could also retire. I'll get into the Patriots segment. Should I think the Patriots should sign Tyreek Hill? We'll get into that. I do want to stick here though with Tyreek Hill. It's one of those things that you're like, what team is going to want him, right? Because he's 31 years old. He's coming off a really, really gruesome injury. So that's my biggest question there. And healthy, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL, but he's 31 now. I don't know. I mean, obviously the clear-cut answer, you could say, well, he's going back to the Chiefs because they had the reunion there. Bieniemy's back. Mahomes is going to be coming back from his injury, of course. Kelsey might come back another year. Get all the guys back together. He's comfortable there. It makes sense. He won a Super Bowl there. And then you go, well, the Chargers could make sense because they're also looking for a receiver as well. The Patriots could make sense because they're looking for a receiver. And then other teams go, well, we don't really want that baggage. Maybe the Commanders. Realistically, I think Tyreek Hill most likely re-signs with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he goes back to the Chiefs. And I know people are going to say, well, why do you think that? Well, because he's been there before. He knows the culture. Andy Reid could easily take him on. I'm pretty sure Rashee Rice is going to be probably suspended from his off the field stuff that has happened this offseason that we're having now. Trickled back to some stuff that occurred with him in the NFL season, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I could totally see Tyreek Hill going to the Kansas City Chiefs. There's other teams out there. There's other suitors. The Bears as well could make sense, but I think he's just going to want to go back to the Chiefs. I really do. Now, there's also the other case where he could retire, but I don't see that. I think he's too much of a competitor. I think he's got something left in the tank. He is 31. Yes, that's old. Yeah, he's coming off the injury, of course, but there's definitely still stuff left in the tank for Tyreek Hill. So what I was looking at here when I was doing some research about it, like when I was going team by team, Buffalo Bills could make sense because they're looking for a wide receiver 1 for Josh Allen. Dolphins X, of course. Patriots could also make sense as well. The Jets, no. The Ravens could make sense. The Bengals, I don't see that. Texans, no, I don't see that. Colts, no. Jags, maybe, but I don't see that. Broncos, nah, I don't see it. Chiefs, possibility. Raiders, no. Chargers, yes. So realistically, you got the Chargers. For Tyreek Hill's landing spots, you have the Chargers, you have the Chiefs, you have the Bills, you have the Bears, you have the Niners, but I don't think they're going to want to take on that. Tyreek Hill is also kind of a basket case too. That's another thing. Like the Niners just moving off of Ayuk. They want to bring in another guy like a Tyreek Hill. I mean, obviously you saw the problems that he had with Miami. So realistically, there's only a couple teams that I think that could make sense for Tyreek Hill. But we don't even know how he's going to come back from his injury. So that's another thing there as well. It's like you're taking on a risk. And how much money is Tyreek Hill really worth at this point in his career? He's 31 years old. He's coming off that big injury. Yeah, when he's fully healthy, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL. But we may not see that version of Tyreek Hill that we saw from the Dolphins in 2023. We may never see that Tyreek Hill that we saw in Kansas City when he won the Super Bowl there, or the year when he had the Dolphins, which I'm pretty sure was the 23 year with 1,700 yards in a season. So he showed flashes this year when he was healthy, but that's a gruesome injury. You never know. So what I did want to talk about, should the Patriots sign Tyreek Hill? I don't want any part of Tyreek Hill as a Patriots fan. We're trying to figure out if we're going to be bringing back Stephon Diggs this upcoming season. He's owed a ton of money if the Patriots pick up the contract, or pick up his option, excuse me. So that's my biggest thing there. And if you sign Tyreek Hill, yes, it puts you in a good spot, but I don't think the Patriots are going to want to involve themselves in a situation like that. He's got off the field issues as well. I think he would really mess up the culture there. I'm not shocked that we signed Stephon Diggs last year because we desperately needed a wide receiver 1, but I don't think we really want to sign a 31-year-old receiver who's just coming off an injury. Now, some people could take the complete opposite approach. This could make total sense for the Patriots. They're missing that wide receiver. They're missing that over the top guy. But I would rather rock with the younger guys and see if you can go get somebody, maybe a trade for an AJ Brown, or see if you can sign an Alec Pierce, or maybe try to get somebody in the draft. Yes, there's other receivers out there. And yes, Tyreek Hill, when he's healthy, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL. I'm not saying he's not, but you already have Stephon Diggs. And the question remains is you keep Diggs and you bring in Hill. I don't think that. And another thing too, Tyreek Hill doesn't even like Boston sports fans. So I know it doesn't really matter, but I don't see him doing that. I think he hates the Patriots more than anything. I think he would go back to the Chiefs more than anything before he even took a look at the Patriots. So that's my thing there about him. But would he become the wide receiver one? Absolutely he would. But I don't think the Patriots would do it. I just don't see it. I think there's other priorities that they have to worry about than taking on a 31-year-old wide receiver as in Tyreek Hill. We took on Stephon Diggs last year at the end of it. Now he's at the end of his career as well. So I don't know. It remains to be seen with the whole Tyreek Hill stuff. But if you were to ask me, if you were to blindfold me and say, hey, Joey, where do you think Tyreek Hill is going to? I think he's going back to the Chiefs.